Welcome back to the first low-effort episode of the Couch Gambit podcast. I am Jacob Sizemore, not your host because we didn't establish this beforehand. And to my right is Mikey Richie Boner.
I fucking hate this.
As of recent, both of us have watched a movie that only one of us likes, the other hates. I like it. It's Michael doesn't like it.
No, you admitted to hating the film after we watched it.
I hated the experience. Here's what happened. Here's what freaking happened. We could have just come here one night and talked about it. We did this last night. You decided to come over, and instead of just talking about it and like going through some clips, no, we had to watch the whole 4-hour movie, which ended up being 5 hours because we kept pausing it to rant.
I don't regret it.
I regret everything. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was losing
my...
We ended up
to
on
watch
the floor, movie. Crying.
I needed to watch the movie again because it had been so long, right? I needed to take it all in. And you know what? It is worse than I remember.
Hold on. Did we actually say the movie that we... Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Yeah, Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut.
Okay. We didn't even say the name for so long. So yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I love the movie. I think it's a very good movie. Not without its flaws. Plenty of flaws. Plenty to make fun of. That being said, overall, I think it's a good movie. I think it's a well-made movie. And I think it's leagues better than the crappy Justice League Joss Whedon cut that happened. Michael does not like the movie.
At all.
At all.
I do not like this movie. Okay? Like, it is just terrible. On all accounts, man. Fuck it. Also, by the way, I know it's just us two on camera, but third member is here in the background.
Yeah, Liam. Liam is present in the... Good throw, you freaking... Liam is present in the house.
He hated the film, too.
Yeah, he hated the film, too. Yeah, he's right there.
It was fucking awful.
How much is your opinion worth when you're vegan?
No, it's not an opinion.
No, it's an opinion.
No. Okay, fine. Yes, him hating the film is an opinion, but him pointing out how bad it is just objective truth right now.
It's not that bad.
It is pretty bad.
It's not bad at all, really.
Bad.
Main points ahead. I think this movie makes sense as a whole. Your big issue is what you didn't think the movie actually made sense. Why? Okay, on a structural level, 100% it makes sense.
No, okay. My problem with the film is that so many people point out like highlight scenes, and I'm like, okay, in the scene in a vacuum, if you can get past some of the bad CGI, is like, sure, I'm cool with liking it, and it probably is a good scene in isolation in a vacuum because Zack Snyder has a good eye for detail. He's really good at shooting an awesome scene. But leading up to it, like the parts that matter where you have to connect the scene by scene is all just awful. It's so bad. Things don't make sense. I'm watching shit and it's just on the screen for so like the fucking shooting the fucking arrow to alert Diana. Why did it have to be so long? Why? Why is the arrow a fucking key?
Okay, but being long does not make things make sense. Like
no.
It doesn't mean that at all. So, what's a specific reason that like some things don't make sense? Because I would agree with you on something. We've been watching this the whole thing through.
Sure.
And I agree with you on some points. Other points, not so much.
Like for example, when the Amazons shot the fucking arrow, okay?
It's the arrow.
Yeah, no, like, okay, first off, it's such a bloated scene. It didn't have to be this long, okay? Also, so you're telling me that they were banking on the fact that, yes, Diana was going to just so happen to see the fire lit, right? Mm-hmm. Just so happen to see it. Also, get lucky enough that forensics wouldn't take the fucking arrow that's in the crime scene. Are you fucking serious? And it's a key? And when she descends to a fucking crypt or something, why the fuck do her heels not snap?
See, okay, the heels thing I get. If she's jumping from however far and she lands that hard on the ground, her heels are going to snap in two.
I need a
I
light.
understand that point. But everything else, no. Number one, they're Amazons. They don't have phones. They were going to communicate in very different ways. Their society is cut off. So they're going to communicate in very non-descriptive ways. So shooting an arrow, it's clear that Diana knows what that means. It clears that she would get the message. And so they made it very obvious to her that she's the only one that knows what that means. So that makes sense to me. As for it being a key, Diana knew it was a key. So clearly this has been set up beforehand as like, hey, for whatever reason, if there's an invasion, because she says, oh, invasion, I get it immediately. Len, this is where you go for that information. I get that.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point
What
I'm making.
point did I miss?
No, you're missing the point I'm making.
Okay.
The point is, they are banking on the fact that we have that no one from the forensics team, which they're in the shot, took the fucking piece of evidence that is the fucking arrow.
Yeah.
No one thought to take it. No one thought that.
It's pointy.
Are you fucking serious?
It's on fire.
And again, in the Josh Whedon cut, it was short and to the point. You got the message, they got the message across,
too
right?
short. You didn't understand bull crap in that movie.
No. Because when Diana, which I still have the issue where she just so happens to be watching the news while she's at work about the fucking fire or whatever, in the Josh Whedon cut and the Zack Snyder cut, they both say invasion. So in the Josh Whedon cut, it's like, okay, she says invasion. She got the message got across. Mm-hmm. We didn't need to stay any long. We didn't need to that's it. She knows there's an invasion. She got the piece of information. Mm-hmm. But then Zack Snyder wants to add more and makes it where, okay, she has to go to the temple. She has to get the arrow. She has to use it as a key. She has to read the fucking murals on the fucking wall.
But in this situation, now it makes sense that she actually knows who these people are.
It was so,
why would she know who these people are?
It would still make sense in the Josh Whedon cut because she probably heard stories about it.
Yeah, in this situation, she probably knows about this cave and learning about this information to relay back to Bruce Wayne. Now you have Bruce Wayne. Yeah, Bruce Wayne.
No, but again, it's an unnecessary scene because, again, the point has...
I disagree 100%.
No, the point got across that she got the message. She knows that it's an invasion. She knows that, okay, so you can infer that these people are coming, right? Mm-hmm. That this is the threat. So that... Great, we got to the point. But in the Zack Snyder cut, I have to watch more bullshit. That's what I mean by it's bloated.
You're saying it's bloated. I can agree with you to a point, but I think the added scenes add context to everything else. For one, it adds context to Darkseid. It adds a build-up to this guy. This is a terrifying freaking guy.
He's really not.
Already,
he's really not terrifying.
Shut your mouth.
He's
right
really not
now.
terrifying.
He's Darkseid. He's the big. He's
in the
better
movie,
than
he's not
Thanos. Or more powerful than Thanos. They're like,
no.
Don't give me Thanos is a better character. However, Darkseid is more powerful than Thanos.
Thank you.
If you're just looking at an objective scale. Thanks, Liam.
No.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, cool. Hi. No, okay, but here's my other issue.
Yeah.
Okay, Darkseid is just what I fear Thanos would be in the Marvel movies, a boring villain. Darkseid is
He hasn't even had his movie yet. He's not even the main villain in this movie.
No, but seriously,
he's teased at the very most.
Okay, you say he's teased, but he got full scenes and everything. While with Thanos, we were building up to him.
Guardians of the Galaxy, he had full scenes. Wasn't impressive in those scenes. Not at all. But you waited till Infinity War. That was the big lead. He didn't do jack for all of these movies up until the point where Infinity War came. It was like, how is this guy going to be intimidating? And then he started the movie by beating the crap out of Thor and Hulk. That's great. We need to have that moment with Darkseid. I don't think we will because we'll never get the Snyder Cut at this point. But we haven't gotten that moment. They're teasing him. He's not the main villain in this movie yet.
But also, here's the thing. He's really not a threat because he already got his ass kicked.
Yeah, millions of years ago.
He already got his butt kicked.
And the guy already took down planets and planets and planets. That makes this Earth special. But and they also had to team up to kill him.
But apparently he's in the special needs class because apparently he just forgot about the planet
that's stupid.
That defeated him.
I will agree with that.
They just forgot that the cubes that they lost were also on the planet that fought back.
It's a big map. There's a lot of planets. There's a lot of planets.
Because when Steppenwolf is like, I have found the cubes, like, on a primitive world. It's like, okay, cool.
Okay, so
But they should already know that this primitive world with the cubes is also the world that fucking fought back.
yes, so that I agree with you. I could get past Darkseid forgetting the world for the simple reason of he's conquered thousands and thousands of worlds.
But you think he would forget the world that fought back, that beat him?
I agree to that. What you brought up during the watch party, the god-awful watch party, when you realize that those cubes were left on the planet and they should come to the logical conclusion that when they go to that planet, find the cubes, that this was the planet that fought back, I agree with that. The only logical way that you could get out of that situation is to say that, oh, well, Green Lanterns when they're from a different planet, so maybe they're in different planets now. Like, however that works, I don't know how it works. It just that's the only logical.
They didn't bother trying to explain it.
They didn't, and so that part doesn't make any sense.
Like, it's just that, and that's what I mean. Like, they're just scenes that just don't make sense. I feel like they're clunky. Here's an example. Okay, for some reason you disagree with me on this one, but I like the scene between Barry and his father. Okay, I think it was such clunky exposition. Like, oh yes, why did I get into criminal justice? Oh, it was so that I could prove that my dad, who got falsely imprisoned for killing, for the death of my mother, blah 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 blah. I was like, that is such clunky exposition. Like, it doesn't feel like a normal person actually, like a human being.
I'm not going to sit here and defend the exposition. What I will say is that scene feels more genuine than the Joss Whedon cut, for the sole reason of I actually feel like I'm spending time with these characters at this point. And in the Joss Whedon cut, we're just breezing past it. In this scene, this is a moment between father and son. And the reason why a lot of these scenes work so much better in the Snyder version than the Joss Whedon cut is because there are pauses in the dialogue. And there are moments for the characters to like react to that. You get reactions that you didn't get in the Joss Whedon cut. Like, you get genuine human reactions. And you see that on Barry. Screw you. What's his name? I forgot his name. What's his name? Ezra Miller. But it was a good scene in and of itself. Anyway, we'll talk about him later. I like to talk about him later. But when you get those like moments of just like people reflecting for a second, and it feels so much more human, and there's so much of that in this movie that these characters actually come to life a ton more in the Zack Snyder cut, and you feel what they're feeling in that scene. So that's why I like the scene, because I can get into the characters a lot more. Also, the color grading and the mood itself is a lot different than the Joss Whedon cut. The Joss Whedon cut kind of treated that scene like it just breezed past it, where this Zack Snyder cut treated like a moment. Like, this is a moment. Let's just be with these characters for a second. And we understand his motivation immediately, and we don't have any of that nonsense, like, added extra humor that Joss Whedon had to put in there.
No, well, hold on. Wait a minute. Because there's plenty of cringy humor that's in the Zack Snyder cut. That is
there's
also
tons.
awful.
But also, most of the humor works in that because it is within the characters. A lot of it is just, a lot of the humor in like the Joss Whedon cut is just like added the frick on just cuz, and it's also really cringy. Also, like when what is it? When the Flash like falls on Wonder Woman's boobs. That was so terrible.
I don't even remember that in the Joss
Also,
Whedon
apparently,
cut.
like Gal Gadot, she refused to film that scene, so she like had like a body double. Like, that's humiliating. No, so she had like a body double do that scene.
But there's just so much wrong with the film, though. Like things just don't make sense. Like, things don't, like, if you really think about it, like logically, things just don't make sense. How do people forget this? Why are people talking in such a manner? Again, some of the dialogue is quite a bit of the dialogue, in my eyes, is very clunky, with exception, in my opinion, Silas and Victor, Cyborg. Like, that's like the emotional beats in the Zack Snyder cut for Cyborg and his dad Silas are better in that cut than Joss Whedon's cut. Now, granted, the reason why Joss Whedon's version of the movie is cut so poorly is because, and I kind of feel for the guy, but he had to like try to trim the fat.
Yep.
Okay, that's the thing, because I get it. Yes, there are scenes in Zack Snyder's cut that are better, but the cost is just the amount of fucking fat.
There's a lot of fat. Yeah.
There's so much unnecessary bullshit. So I'm not trying to say that Joss Whedon's cut of Justice League is good. I'm not saying that. But to say that Zack Snyder's cut is miles ahead of the Joss Whedon cut, and in my eyes, is a disservice.
On an editing wise, it is better. It is much better. Like the scenes actually feel like scenes, not just coupled together like garbage. And again, I do have sympathy for Joss Whedon because he was forced into an unwinnable situation. The fact that he had to edit this 4-hour movie into a 2.5 hour, not even just a 2-hour movie. He couldn't even like do a 2.5 for some reason. It had to be 2 hours.
Yeah. No. Also, the soundtrack. The soundtrack.
Sheesh.
I'm sorry. I'm so angry.
Brother.
Oh my god. I fucking hate the soundtrack in the Zack Snyder cut. I fucking hate it.
The soundtrack or just some of the pop songs that play? Because I can agree with some of the pop songs.
The one.
I take it back. No, that was terrible.
That is
was
awful.
Terrible.
When Aquaman after he goes like to fucking drink his fucking alcohol and he goes to jump back into the water during the storm. What the fuck was that song? In the Joss Whedon cut, it was a total dude bro song, which like. Yeah, kind of fits the scene. But in the Zack Snyder cut, what even was the song? What was the song?
I don't
even
know.
remember. It was awful. It was terrible. I hate it. I hate it. Now, also,
Jeez.
also,
Liam, help.
when the Flash saves the random chick, apparently it's going to be his love interest or something.
Yeah,
This
Iris
was-
West.
Whatever.
That's his famous love interest.
Cool. Either way, the song that plays during him saving her, I dreamed.
I have no problem with that. There's no
As
problem
he's
with that
looking
scene.
at a hot dog wiener.
There's no problem with that scene. There's no problem with that scene.
It is awful.
You can say it's bloated. That's all you can say because that scene's
no,
awesome.
No.
That
because
scene's awesome.
Are you telling me that the face she makes in slow motion that's the face of someone in a car accident?
She's probably accepted death. You see the car that she drives? She's driving a beater. She doesn't live a good life. When that car hits her, she's probably like thinking, finally.
That's his defense. That's his defense of it. Are you?
It's
also,
not a defense.
And you
I
are.
think that's just funny.
Also.
I think it's funny. Also.
Why Zachary? Tell me. Why is it that at the truck driver, why did I have to look at a close-up of his fucking finger reaching for the burger? And during the impact, why is there a slow-mo shot of a fucking sesame seed? Zachary, this is what I mean by bloat. It's just unnecessary bullshit. I don't need this.
You know in Infinity War where really, if you trace it back, the real person that beat Thanos was a rat because he stepped on the time machine to let Ant-Man loose? I believe they're doing the same thing with that sesame seed. Somehow, Darkseid is going to choke on that sesame seed, and he's going to like die from that sesame seed, and that's going to be the savior. That's why Snyder focused on that so much. It's foreshadowing. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great movie.
Do you hear
Snyder
yourself?
Cut. Let's do this.
Do you hear yourself right now?
Sesame Seed Snyder Cut.
It is
That's the real hero.
Such bullshit.
No, I have no problem with that scene. It shows Barry's powers beautifully. The reason he's being like so like gentle with her is because he's moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. He's trying to be as nice as humanly possible because any like impact on her that's normal speed for him is going to be like a train hitting her. So he's being very careful with her. The visuals around that scene is great. I don't care what you think about the song. The song is awesome in that scene.
No.
That scene is perfect. And the humor fits in perfectly when he grabs the wiener dog and it uses that for foreshadowing to use it later.
So,
it's perfect.
So you think I spent all this time on that scene on a character that doesn't even come back in the movie.
Sure. She's not important to the story.
Yeah, but like, okay, you're talking about like demonstrating his powers, right?
Yeah.
In Joss Whedon's cut, the way they demonstrated his powers, right?
That's through a joke.
So yeah, was basically when, which is this, by the way, this is still stupid. When Bruce Wayne threw a fucking batarang at the Flash. Either way, like then the Joss Whedon cut and the Zack Snyder cut, both fucking stupid. Bruce, you could have killed him.
Yeah, you didn't know
what is wrong with you.
You told
Bruce?
him you didn't know what his powers were. You were totally willing to kill this kid. That's a batarang. You can say like it's a batarang. It's not. Yes, this is a Batman that kills people. In the previous movie, that batarang is like a knife in your throat. That thing kills people.
Like again, both films are awful. But at least with Josh's cut, I didn't have to sit there for 4 hours.
Listen to this man say, "At least with Joss Whedon." At least with Joss Whedon, as if he's defending this god awful cut.
It's not 4 hours long. I'm just saying.
Here's the biggest difference between you and me. Like you can say the movie doesn't make sense. You can have problems with individual scenes. I can have the same problems with those individual scenes, but a lot of the reason that you keep bringing in is because the film feels bloated. I understand that, but I can get past it. That is not a subjective reason why that movie is bad. There are long movies that stretch on forever that are still really good, and there are long movies that are terrible.
Of course.
That is not determine a film's quality.
But that's because scenes actually feel important. They actually matter.
No, in the Joss Whedon cut, none of those scenes feel like they matter. They're breezed through. They're ripped out. Something feels like they've been ripped out. In the Zack Snyder cut, every scene feels like it's there for a reason. Well, no, not every scene. Let me take that back. Not every scene. There are certain scenes, but most of those scenes feel impactful. They're there for a reason. They're building on something.
You know what scene was really impactful to me?
Tell me.
The scene between Martha and Lois Lane.
Oh,
where
so
Martha
impactful.
is explaining to her, like, you need to move on. Come back to the land of the living. All that stuff, right?
Yep.
Beautiful scene. You want to know what ruined it?
Martian Manhunter.
Martian fucking Manhunter. Come on. Are you really saying that is an improvement over the Joss Whedon cut? Because
no.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It's not a great scene.
It's
well,
terrible.
it was a good scene up until Martian Manhunter.
Yes. Again, when we talked about in the last episode of the podcast how it because with movies, right, you can have a banger beginning, a great middle, but if the execution of the ending is poor, then it ruins the entire movie. It's the same thing with scene by scene. The beginning of a scene and the middle of a scene can all be spectacular, excellent. But if the ending drops in quality, then I feel like I've wasted my fucking time.
And I agree with that scene. There are plenty of scenes in this movie that are purely made, but I'll stay on this scene for a second. I agree that was truly for fans, and that was pretty much it. Because in the context of the movie, it makes no sense whatsoever. Why is Martian Manhunter going after Lois Lane? The defense of that would be Lois Lane is important because she's tied to Superman and keeps him human. Okay, how in the world will Martian Manhunter know that? And number two, how in the Superman's dead at this point. He's not alive. Why would there be a need to keep her around as importance? It makes no sense. And I get that. Like Martian Manhunter, she's cool. Like he doesn't even look that good. The CGI on him isn't even that good. Ugh. Like get over it. But again, scenes that work intangibly, like in and of themselves as great scenes, but also build, like are pretty much the entire battle scene at the end. Every scene near the end, you can have your problems, but all of those scenes are like perfection. Like the Flash scene, he's reversing. By the way, spoilers, I guess. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch 4 Hours. I'm better than Liam, who will just like straight up say the absolute worst part of spoiler immediately without actually saying spoilers. But yeah, there's a scene with the Flash at the end where he just goes and taps into the Speed Force and reverses time. We've established that he can somewhat do that before, but this is a tense situation. He's never run this fast before. He has to break the barrier. The fact that it relays it back to his dad when he says, like, your son was one of them, the best of the best, it's more impactful because you think he could die from this scene, and he's relaying his dad knows, like, if I'm going to die, like, I'm going to somewhat, like, voice my opinions to my dad, and then you see how powerful he is and the visuals around it as everyone's reformed and everything brings it back to Cyborg's next scene. That's a great ending to that scene. It builds on to the next scene, Cyborg scene, when he even though the CGI in that scene is terrible, when he actually has that moment inside the mother box and he comes to the acceptance of himself for who he is, kind of a monster, but he still has humanity left in him. He's accepting of that part of him. Like, those scenes are perfect. The ending is perfect. It's great. Well, not the ending, but the ending of that is perfect.
Okay. So when Barry, the Flash, goes back in time, what are the consequences of him going that fast?
I don't think he's thinking about it. I don't think he knows the consequences.
No. But he said, like, weird things happen, right? But there's nothing concrete about, like, something bad happens. So really, his decision is, do I run super fast to go back in time, or do I just not do it? Is that really much? Of course he's going to...
I don't think... And
of course he's going to press the I saved the world button.
Well, that's what I just said. Like, he could easily just die, and it could all be for nothing. Like, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's operating like kind of like Batman is, and I'll get to that in a second, based on faith. He doesn't know what's going to happen. Good job, my guy. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He's truly doing this based on because he has no other choice. There's nothing else left to do other than do this one thing. He's operating on faith, and he's just going by instinct, and that's it. We don't know the consequences of it. There are definitely consequences. And especially they're going to be addressing that in the Flash movie, by the way. They're going to be addressing that in the Flash movie, those consequences. So, I don't know. I don't see that there are no consequences. I think there are consequences, and they do address it in the movie. They're going to address it a little more in the Flash movie.
But here's the thing, though. In context of like when it came out, right? There are no consequences.
Yeah,
right?
there are.
No, like again, because there's nothing concrete laid out. Like what?
Okay.
Because he's not sacrificing anything to make this decision to go super fast.
But it is a risk. It's not. It's like, I mean, you can't really sacrifice everything when everyone's already gone. Like, it's either do this or the world dies. So there's already a risk of like this could be for nothing because I could just die. So we know that there is a risk involved.
The risk is he might as well try. Obviously.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He might as well try.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have any other choice at this point. So I think we kind of agree on that part. Like the risk is death.
I don't think it's as. I'm not emotionally invested in that scene as you are though, because especially when he's referencing when he talked to his dad. Again, like it's only that one scene. I hardly know the dad. I don't really care.
Sure. But again, it's like when a character dies on screen, and the character it's dying itself is not the sad part; it's the reaction of other people. The reaction of him talking to his dad is what we care about. Because now we've spent some time with Flash, we care about Flash, and his reaction to potentially his end, talking to his dad, that's impactful. Not necessarily the dad himself, because we don't know the character of the dad.
No, but like I'll be the first to admit, I think visually. Scene was cool.
Yeah.
I thought the music playing was pretty cool. And again, in a vacuum with more setup, I think the scene would have been fucking great. I don't think there was enough setup with, him and his dad, because there's only the one brief scene.
Sure. I could have also gone for a little more setup of like him actually doing it other than just a sentence.
And I think it would have worked more if he actually had like, if he felt like it, maybe if he had an inferiority complex, or if he maybe thought that like he is dragging the team down, this is his moment to prove that yes, he can stand among giants.
Yes, and again, like I agree with you. I think there are lots of scenes in this that could have been better, but I think in tangent, a lot of these scenes are really great. Like in my opinion, that's the best scene in the whole film. But what you kind of adjust, why in the world,
Liam?
Why? What are you doing? Who are you?
You dick.
But again, what I feel like Zack Snyder was going for in this movie was to create the new gods. And what they established in the flashback was Zeus, the old Greek gods, everybody else was standing against Darkseid and his army. These are the new protectors. These are the new, like, ultra powerful beings. These are the new gods, essentially. Like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, these are the new like ultra powerful beings. And someone really summed it up. I forget who this was, but they summed it up very well. Marvel versus DC a while ago. Marvel is about humans becoming gods, and DC is about gods becoming human. So it's about Superman, this ultra powerful being, being more humanized. Flash, no one can catch him, being humanized. Aquaman, this powerful sea creature who is the king of Atlantis, being humanized. All of these people being humanized through these experiences. And again, with this scene where Flash is clearly powerful, you get glimpses of his humanity when he's talking to his dad, when he's talking to himself. Like, that's the stuff that's powerful.
God, you really like this movie.
I do. I really like this movie.
Again, it's just, I'm not gonna say that there isn't moments of like great like shot composition, some really solid imagery, and I guess there are bits of the dialogue where like I don't mind it, but there's so many issues where like things don't logically make sense. They don't connect well.
Sure.
So okay, Another thing. Another one. Okay. The cubes. The MacGuffins.
Yes.
Okay. The 3 MacGuffins. So they basically awaken, right, after Superman dies, right? That's the big thing. Like, okay, the biggest threat is gone.
Yeah.
But why didn't they just awaken like way before Superman was even a thing?
Yep. See, what I originally thought happened was when Superman screamed, that was just a reaction. And I'm like, oh, throughout the entire movie, I thought it was just a reaction to an ultra powerful being. And that's what sent a signal to Darkseid and or Steppenwolf to go find the cubes. And so that made sense to me. But then they had the scene where they brought the cube to the Batcave and they were talking about it. And they specifically said that these cubes were afraid of him. Yeah. And they made it very clear in the film, in both films, that the cubes have sentient abilities. And they genuinely fear Superman. Okay. Superman has not been on Earth for a very long time.
He has not.
Why? Yeah, again, I agree with that reason. If they made it clear that it was a reaction to his scream, that would make sense. But they didn't. They made it to a point where it's a fear thing, which doesn't make any sense unless you're just saying...
Which
actually, but no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't make sense.
By the way, which is I think this is why Josh Whedon might have cut out the Superman scream at the beginning. Now, hear me out. The reason why is because I think it leads to that confusion, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because people think, okay, it reacted to Superman screaming, but then they explain something completely different. That they were just afraid of Superman. It wasn't the scream itself, right? And so now, in the Zack Snyder cut, there's this kind of bit of a confusion, like which is it, right? Do you take for what you saw on screen, or do you accept what they said?
Yeah. I could almost get into that, but then they also make it more confusing. Because they have the parademons, when they, I don't know, commit suicide and just kill themselves, their blood shows the cubes. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I agree. That's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying the Josh Whedon cut is good, by the way.
Yeah.
I have never said that. I'm just saying that I don't think the Zack Snyder cut is this huge improvement over the Josh Whedon cut. I think they're both bad, but in different fucking ways.
I think
I think Josh Whedon, like the way he cut the film, right? Like I know you're like, especially when we were actually watching a little bit of the Josh Whedon cut before this.
Man, it was bad.
Well, first off, I was kind of tapping out. I didn't want to do it. We all were.
We got through 4 hours of this whole freaking thing. I'm not kidding. We were on the ground.
Yes,
just like
crying. It was awful.
It's done. I like this movie, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's still going.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, even someone who enjoys the film, like, I feel like they're like people can like get fatigue going through the film.
Yes.
Because I do think, Jake, I really do think subconsciously, you're like, there are scenes where like, man, the scene is it's dragging on. Or you can, I think that it's bloated.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of bloated scenes that don't need to be. I like a lot of the scenes that are extended and there's more add on to it. A lot of that I don't mind because I do like slower movies. I do like it when people take their time. But I'm not going to sit here and say that 4 hours is not a long time and that a lot of these scenes did need to be there. There are a lot of scenes that didn't need to be there. The ending scene. The ending scene. I don't have a problem with the Darkseid flashbacks in general. I think all of them were done well in the whole movie. Except for the ending, which is one of the most poorly written scenes in the whole thing. It is not good. Whoever thought that scene was good is wrong. Jared Leto's in that scene. Yeah. He's ridiculous.
Who's going to give you a reach around?
Originally I thought he was better in the movie, but like... as the time went on, he just got on my nerves again.
Dude, his laugh is so bad. It is terrible.
Can we just address that he said fish stick?
Can we address the fact that he was like, he told Batman, who else is going to give you a reach around?
Yeah. It's so stupid.
It's awful.
It's so
terrible.
Stupid.
Yeah. Now, here's a scene that Josh Whedon actually added, I believe, and I actually think this was an improvement.
Okay, which one?
So I think you don't like it for a reason that I don't think this was necessarily the point. I think it was a minor side thing, but the scene between Bruce and Diana, where it's after they fight Superman, right? I think so. I don't remember exactly now because we didn't finish the Josh Whedon cut. We only got to like 30 minutes or whatever, maybe. But it's this. But basically, it's after a battle, and they conclude a meeting, and Bruce kind of walks off, and he is still injured from the previous fight.
Yeah.
Like he is straining himself. And the only one who notices is Diana, which goes to show that she is one of the individuals who actually pays attention to the team as a whole to look after their well-being, right? So that's really cool, an interesting little character thing for Diana. And also it humanizes Bruce, reminding us that he's the only normal person.
Yeah.
He is the person who risks the most.
And I agree with that. I think that scene was okay. I don't really remember that scene very fondly because I just didn't like the movie overall. But I do like the idea of like Diana tending to his wounds.
Yeah, no, and like some people were like, oh, well, it's just like, bait for like, oh, Batman and Wonder Woman will get it on in the future. I'm like, maybe that might be a side thing, but it's really just, again, it humanizes Bruce.
Yeah.
It shows that Diana really cares, and they have a really good, whether it's a friendship or some blooming romance. I don't know. I don't care. It's not going to lead anywhere anymore.
Yeah. It's not going to be like a blooming romance. And like, if you know Zack Snyder's plans for the movie, it never was going to be a blooming romance. What I do like is the reactions of the other characters later on in the Snyder Cut. They feel natural and funny. Like, all the scenes when they're digging up the grave, I think all of that is hilarious. I think the scene where, right when they're fighting Superman, where Flash misses Superman, Superman just gets out of the way and he runs into Aquaman, and their little interaction afterwards, all of that is great stuff. I will say my biggest problem, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this, my biggest problem with the movie as a whole is Batman. He is neutered in this movie.
Yeah. I think I was mentioning this in the Josh Whedon cut, even though it's still not that great. But I like that, for example, he's kind of acting like a detective in the Josh Whedon cut.
Yeah.
Because again, he's the greatest detective. And it's nice to see Batman trying to be a detective, trying to figure something out. But like, yeah. I'm so sorry. I kind of got ash on the floor. I'll clean it up.
It's fine.
But yeah, in the Zack Snyder cut though, like he's kind of mid.
Yeah. I just, here's the thing. It all comes down to what your opinion is on the last movie, which was Batman v Superman. I liked that version of Batman. I don't mind a Batman that kills people, to be honest with you. Because, to be honest with you, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Batman to not kill. Now, I understand that goes against his character. I understand that the core of his character is that he doesn't kill people because he doesn't like guns, doesn't believe in killing, and he thinks that killing people makes more killers, which inherently doesn't make any sense, but I understand. That's part of his core character. I do believe that you can have creative freedom with Batman, and I believe that a lot of that stuff can be explored, which is why I never had a problem with Ben Affleck's Batman killing people in Batman v Superman. I thought it made sense for the character that they introduced in that movie. And a Batman that kills is a terrifying Batman, and I think it made him the scariest version of Batman, at least in the opening scenes in that movie. I thought he was really well handled, and he was a threat. He was terrifying in that movie. Like, he took down criminals in a scene that has, in my opinion, yet to be like topped in any Batman action scene, period. He is a threat level midnight. That guy is a menace. In this movie, he is just neutered to an unbelievable degree, to where I don't believe that he would be neutered that bad. He just is such a passive, nice, like, I'm operating on faith character. And that doesn't seem like anything. It seems like such a shift from the character that they established him to be.
I think it would have worked more.
Hi, Liam.
I was going to interject here.
Go ahead.
Get in here.
And jump right in. So one of the main things is I actually agree on the point with Batman killing. The only thing I wish they would have done is make it a story element to actually discover and break down why he's killing people. And that's the only thing that's the only reason it upsets me. It's not the aspect of Batman killing in itself that I have a problem with. It's the fact that it is such a shift from this character and it's never really explained.
Well, and I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about at one point, how Marvel, they used to have all the patience in the world to lead up to the Infinity Saga.
Yes.
But DC, like Zack Snyder, they don't have that. They didn't have that same level of patience.
Yes, but that's
Right?
I don't think that's Zack Snyder's fault.
Well,
I think
no.
it's the
I
company.
mean, well, because Zack Snyder, he's the one who, obviously he started off with Man of Steel. He did the Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
I think he probably. I don't even think he even thought to do a standalone Batman film.
No, he didn't. And I will say that they gave him a lot of creative freedom, but you will see in a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, he didn't want to do Doomsday. He didn't want to do this. He had to do this stuff. He had to add a lot of stuff because the studio needed to catch up. And they didn't take the time to establish that, which is, again, is why that their whole leadership has changed, and now they're just revamping everything.
Yeah.
The new Flash movie is going to reset everything.
Yeah.
Already. Yeah, it's not even been that long. I don't think it's even been 10 years, and they're already resetting everything.
Yeah, I think it's a darn shame because I really like DC. I think I might like DC more than Marvel when it comes to like the animated series.
Oh,
and
yeah.
some of the comics. Like Batman is pretty much my favorite superhero. I love Batman. I actually really like Superman. A lot of people say that Superman is boring.
Superman's great.
He is like, okay, I used to be under that same fucking bandwagon, right? Like, oh, he's boring. How do you beat him? Oh, a green rock. But honestly, like, Superman is such an interesting character, and like I forget, there's this animated movie with Superman, and I think they're called the group is called like the Elite or something. I don't remember what the film is called, but it really dives into Superman's like character, like way more like his thought process on like why he how he acts as a superhero.
Right.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I'll have to look it up later. And I'm sure someone's going to comment down. No one will comment down below. Never mind.
Who's going to do it?
We don't have a fan base.
Now, that being said, we did hit on the one freaking short that we've released. What is it? Paragraphs and paragraphs of people responding to. Yeah, well,
Nerds.
actually, like it was the one short that we released. I was talking about Marvel and that they had no plan, and I brought up Kang and it was beat by Ant-Man.
Yeah.
People got mad at that somehow, and it's like, well, we have to wait for Marvel to like show us the plan. Like, we should wait. We should give them a chance. Phase 4, we gave them a chance, my guy. We gave them many chances.
But like, because seriously, like. Kang is such a nothing. I love how we're going from the Justice League film to now.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Marvel.
Yeah.
But like Kang is so awful. Like, didn't he get he lost in the Loki TV show?
Yeah,
right?
he lost in the Loki. Well,
I
that
don't-
doesn't really.
I don't really remember. To
Wasn't
be
even a
honest.
bad guy in that one, so
I mean, he was still kind of nothing.
he's kind of there.
Like-
I'm not saying he was a good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like-
also the Kang in the Ant-Man film, right? So like he's supposed to be this uber bad one.
Yeah.
Like that the main collective of Kangs were like, yeah, we must banish him. He is too dangerous. And that Kang lost to Ant-Man?
Yeah. And people said like he didn't lose to Ant-Man, he lost in an Ant-Man movie. He lost
Yeah.
in an Ant-Man movie.
That's the
Already
point.
that's bad.
That's the point.
Yeah.
He didn't even face any like the fucking high tier heroes.
Yeah.
He didn't fight Spider-Man. He didn't fight Thor. He didn't fight. I was gonna say Hulk, but is Hulk even like?
Hulk's a wuss now.
Yeah.
Poor they did my boy bad. Look how they treated my boy.
My boy.
He's dead. My poor green boy. Hey, you want to end it there or?
Oh no, there's more to tell.
Oh, great. Oh my gosh! Just like last night.
Well, I'm just saying.
We could stop here. No, let's continue.
I look, man. There's so much that I don't like about the Zack Snyder cut, but I guess I could just say this, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying the Zack Snyder cut. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying the Joss Whedon cut. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying bad films. Hold on. Hold on. I'm just saying, because I'm looking at this as objectively as possible, right? I just think that the flaws I've mentioned, the things that don't make sense, how there wasn't a lot of logical thought put into the movie, because like a lot of things have to happen like under coincidence or just because people forgot that something existed for the film to work, right? And I think it's just to say that we got such awesome emotional scenes and everything like that. It's like, but again, I don't want my films to get worse. I'm just saying, because there needs to be logical sense, right? Things need to make sense, because if my brain is telling me something's not right with this scene, or how did this happen, or it's a good thing that they just so happen to be in this one part of the city or whatever for just to intervene in this way, blah 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 blah, right? Then I can't enjoy the movie.
Sure,
I just can't. That said, I can tell you plenty of films that are really bad or shows that are bad. I still like it. The 2005 Doom movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Carl Urban. It is such an awful film, but I fucking love it. I love that movie with all my heart.
All right. Well, now that we know the reason why that he thinks this movie's bad, because he enjoys movies like Doom. So
that is so disingenuous, and you know it. That is so disingenuous.
It is incredibly disingenuous.
No, I mean, again, I'd like to think that my points have merit, right? And I'm not gonna. And I think, yes, there are things that are good about the Zack Snyder cut, as there are good things in plenty of films. But I just don't. I personally think it's incorrect to say that the Zack Snyder cut is an objectively way better film than the Joss Whedon cut. I just think they're both.
I think it's a very clear statement that the movie is objectively better. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just say that the movie's perfect and doesn't have any flaws. That's not true, and anyone that's just going to stand here and say that Zack Snyder does not have his cons as a director, does not have his things that he just leans upon for the sake of it, is a fool. The movie has plenty of flaws, and I can make fun of them all day and night with you, but I don't think that those flaws equate to a bad movie. I think that they are narrative flaws, but I don't think that they make the movie make less sense. I don't think that they stop the enjoyment of that movie, and especially for me, I don't think that those flaws lead up to a bad experience for me. I've seen this movie 7 times, now 8, unfortunately. I have enjoyed that movie all 7 times, except for last night when it took for freaking ever. I think it's a objectively better movie than the Joss Whedon cut, which was just a cobbled together mess of a Frankenstein movie trying to make a 4-hour movie work to 2 hours. Sure. You can't do that. You have to let the director's vision actually come to fruition. If Zack Snyder is the true director of the movie and he had a 4-hour envisioned cut, that's the cut that's going to make more sense in the long run. So I can understand people not liking it for that, but objectively, in that sense, it is a better, more constructively sound movie than the Zack Snyder cut or the Joss Whedon cut, which is just a Frankenstein of a movie.
That is a mistake. Now here's my counter to that. And so I hear a lot of times that it hasn't ruined the enjoyment of the film for me. Right? That's what you said. You can enjoy just because you enjoy something does not mean it's good, right? Because you're giving me trying to give me points of I still enjoy the film, but I'm not given a lot of points of why the Zack Snyder cut is for say makes more sense in this regard.
For all the reasons that I just said, every scene, every character is took into its natural conclusion. I think the Flash, his character arc is great. I think the Cyborg's character arc is great. Every character, minus Batman in a lot of ways, but even then you can make an argument for that. Every character is taken into its natural conclusion in this story. I don't think, and I'm saying that this movie has flaws, so does every movie. So does Star Wars. Star Wars has humongous flaws in those movies and humongous plot holes. And those aren't enough to ruin the movie. It's the same thing with this. I'm not saying that these are big enough flaws where it's a bad movie and I can just enjoy it just in case. No, I think that these are small flaws in a great movie. I think that none of these flaws are bad enough to take away from the greatness that is the rest of this movie. And I do understand that it's bloated. I do understand that a lot of this stuff can frustrate people, but some of that is very objective speaking. Some of this is going to depend on who's going to be watching. I don't mind watching long movies. I love when this movie takes its time with its characters. I love the fact that the tone is different. I love that the shots are so well put together and the scenes are so well put together, and absolutely most of the scenes have a powerful and a motivating conclusion. The characters bounce off each other so much better. The action is great. The sound mixing, the cinematography, all of that comes together to make a movie that has a clear inherent vision, that has flaws, as all movies do, but comes together to make a cohesive movie that is a singular vision. That is not the case with the Joss Whedon cut. It's a Frankenstein movie that it was very corporatized. Zack Snyder made his vision because he was allowed to by the fans. Thanks, guys.
But like even the things that like people criticize Joss Whedon for, it's still in the Zack Snyder cut. Like the campy humor, the humor that's stupid. Like okay, also a lot of people, I even remember this. I remember this now. Probably people were like when Aquaman is on the Batmobile, he's like, yeah, right? Probably like, that's such a stupid thing that Joss Whedon added. Actually, if you pay attention to the film, you can tell that Aquaman still does the gesture, the motion of, saying, yeah, right?
I have no problem with that.
But Zack Snyder, he muted that because he was like, a lot of people criticize the, yeah. And Zack's like, oh, well, I don't want people to, give me flack for some of it. Because he looked at what didn't work in his vision in the Joss Whedon cut. And he's like, so he altered a few things.
Right. But he didn't keep most of it as well.
Oh, man.
Especially like the scene where like Superman's like eyeing Flash. Even if you don't like the movie, like that scene's awesome.
Well, sure. I mean, I liked the fight. Now, even that, I love how Superman's first reaction is to just try to kill people. I love that, and like military shooting at him. Let me fucking laser beam them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh god. Also, and again, another thing where a coincidence happens is like, oh, Lois Lane, she just so happens to be in this part of the city.
Yeah.
For when they fight Superman to calm him down. In the Joss Whedon cut, it's explicitly shown that Walter. Wait, Walter. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just think of
Walter.
I'm sorry, Alfred. Sorry, I was thinking of Hellsing. For any anime fan, I was thinking of Hellsing for a bit for some reason. Walter C.
Mr. White.
No, yeah, Walter White. No, but also Walter, Alfred, Butler names. Come on.
Yeah.
But no, but it shows that like Alfred is the one who was in the car with Lois, right? And also. It gives you a good reason of why also Batman was not taking part in the fight in the very beginning and the middle section. Because in the Joss Whedon cut, it was because, okay, he was trying to, get Lois to calm him down. Mm-hmm. In the Zack Snyder cut, he's just not there until, like, the end.
Yep. And again, I think that's a huge problem with, like, Batman's part. Like, Batman's just neutering in that scene. He doesn't nearly take as much of a center point as I feel like he should have. Because he is the person that brought the team together. He should be inherently the leader of the team. He should be the smartest one there. But like, I'm operating strictly on faith. It's like, what?
Oh,
when
yeah.
have you as a character
I was
going to
bring this up. So I think it would have worked if, again, more time was spent with Batman. How like he's very he's calculating all that stuff. He only does things based off of logic and research. But then it would have been really cool as like a like that's the setup. But the payoff is he finally decides to just let faith guide him.
Yeah. To
just have faith that Superman will be the key factor and like he will come back.
Right.
Because again, Clark he is a symbol of hope for Earth.
He is. Right. And look, I'm a Christian. I operate on faith all the time. That's my main freaking thing. But that's not who Batman is. Batman is not a character who operates off faith.
But what I'm saying though is that it could have worked if it was, again, he's always calculating. He's always,
sure.
But him trying to be let's see, him Superman dying was because he didn't have faith. Mm-hmm. Right. He didn't have faith that he only considered worst case scenario.
Right.
Right. Not seeing the good in the individual. Mm-hmm. Right. That's why I think it could have worked if there was just more setup.
Sure. And I agree with that. I think that inherently could have worked with a more it would need to. It should have been in that case. It should have been a lot more of a guilt-driven Batman, and I think that's kind of what they were going for, but they didn't execute it in the best way. They didn't show his clear guilt in this scenario. The fact that he went after Superman when he had an enemy right in front of him, he was blinded by hatred, and so he should have had some guilt in that aspect where I took the world's greatest hero because of my own hatred. So I agree it could have been better, but I don't think they handled it well at all. They made him a very passive character.
Of course, yeah. Again, which is why I think like actually Josh Whedon's cut kind of handled Batman quite a bit better, I would say.
No, they made him more of a jokey pansy in that one. Like when he gets up when Superman hits him, like, ugh, something's definitely bleeding. Like, ugh. That's gross. And like when he like at the most cringiest line in the whole movie when Superman like you don't like me, like I don't, and like Batman says I don't not like you. And like gross. Get out of here.
Again, but who's to say that that wasn't already in Zack's like cut of the film?
Because have you seen the reshoots and the humor that was added? That was definitely a Joss Whedon cut.
No. Seriously, think about it, right? Because there are things in the Joss Whedon cut that were probably already what Zack filmed anyways. And again, Zack looked at what didn't work, and he probably took that out.
But you know that Joss Whedon came in and reshot a whole bunch of crap and added a whole bunch of crap.
But do you know every shot that he himself did?
I don't know every shot, but I know many of it is very documented. And I will say, from watching Zack Snyder's vision, seeing what that was, that doesn't fit at all. It fits in the Joss Whedon cut. It doesn't fit at all what
in the Zack Snyder cut. There's still the line. Well, what's your superpower? I'm rich.
That's a fine line. I don't have a problem with that line.
Yeah, but no, like it checks out though. I mean, it's a corny line.
Yeah, it's a corny line, but I think it works.
Yeah, so is like the other lines you're mentioning are kind of like the same kind of like corniness, right?
I think it really depends on which one, because some of the lines, like even in the Zack Snyder cut, I don't like, but there are far more lines in the Justice League that's it's just forced humor. Like the scene where Aquaman's like pointing at the Flash, and he's like, "I am so sorry" when he hits him. That's a funny moment right there. And that's within the characters. That is very clear that Zack Snyder set up. As a mood, as a set piece, nowhere in time it doesn't make sense for Superman to just look at Batman and say like, "Oh yeah, you like me?" He's like, "I don't not like you."
I don't even remember the scene, to be honest.
Yeah, in the entirety of what they had set up in that scene, it doesn't make even sense when they would even try and do that. So, no, I think that was definitely a Joss Whedon added cut. Especially because it makes more sense because that happened after the ending and everything when the parademons took him away or whatever. No, the ending of Zack Snyder's cut, like they ended like decapitating Steppenwolf and sending him back to Darkseid.
Also, why was Superman wearing black?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Like,
it was cool looking though. I have no idea why he was wearing black. I know it's a reason in the comics, but I don't know the reason, so I can't really...
Oh, it was to make nerds cream their pants. That's
probably,
right.
yeah, probably,
okay.
yeah.
And that's another thing. Like,
it means nothing for the story, at least. Like, he wears the black suit. So? Like, you can say that makes something in the comics, but for this story, it means nothing. So, I don't know why that's there.
That's weird.
Solar powered?
Black
powered? As like...
I don't know. Regardless, I still don't think the film works. I think it's still just it's a bad film, but so is the Joss Whedon cut. I personally, I enjoyed watching it with you to an extent.
Yeah, near the ending, we were getting a little crazy.
Oh yeah, but no, it's just for me, it's a film that doesn't work. Yes, I don't think it's as cut poorly as like the Joss Whedon cut, but again, that's because poor Josh. He was dealt a bad hand. I mean, fuck the guy still, but
oh, he's not a good person.
No,
but
I feel for him having because when I first watched the Joss Whedon cut, I was like, man, this is a fucking dumpster fire, and then I compared the Joss Whedon cut to an actual dumpster fire. But again, I'm okay with. I don't think there's anything wrong with liking it. I really don't. Okay.
You said you'd kill me last time.
I wasn't serious. I wasn't that serious about it, but I mean, look. There's obviously like enjoyment to be had in a Zack Snyder film. Obviously, you know, it's fun to watch his films.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have fun watching the Justice League in either version. I hate both of them. But
Can we both agree that Man of Steel is better?
than the Justice League movies?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Plenty.
yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. I just think Man of Steel is the best DC
Now,
movie.
can we also agree that the second Wonder Woman film is worse than both
Trash.
Justice League films?
Oh my gosh, that movie's trash.
Awful, simply dreadful. Okay, hey, see, wait,
Genuine trash.
We can end this on us agreeing
Yeah,
on something.
we agree on something. We agree that the second Wonder Woman is hot garbage.
Awful movie.
And with that, that's going to be the what do we call this segment again? Not trying something?
Low effort.
Low effort podcast. I'm
This
literally
is
gonna
the
make
low
a
effort
seg-
episode.
Yeah, this is the first low effort episode with Michael Richie Bono and Jacob Sizemore. Maybe next time we'll have Liam on and with another carnivore or something.
And Mikey.
Yeah, we'll
Or
have Mikey on.
Charles.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
What?
You're killing me.
Look. He's Mikey to me, and he's Charles to you guys.
It's just, but I
I'm
almost
Michael
want to
to
call
you.
you Mikey because you're Michael. Mikey makes sense for as a nickname, but now I can't call you Mikey because Charles is Mikey.
We'll work on it.
How in the... Okay, yes. Thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all watching. Subscribe to our podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the podcasts with podcasts at the end of it.
God,
Subscribe.
I hate that movie.
It's a great movie. Great
No,
movie.
it's
Go
not.
watch it again. All 4 hours.
Never.
Everything.
Please don't. Don't do it.
All right. How do we end this?
I don't know. Have a good one, guys.
Hey, bye.